dealing with grocery, we're dealing with food service, we're dealing with healthcare, we're doing front of the store, back of the store, middle. These are different supply chains. So I would encourage everyone, when you get a chance, go back and listen to some of these episodes, but also reach out to us. Hello and welcome to the Next Level Supply Chain with GS1 US, a podcast in which we explore the mind-bending world of global supply chains, covering topics such as automation, innovation, unique identity, and more. I'm your co-host, Reid.
And I'm Liz.
And welcome to the show. Liz, can you believe we're at the end of the year already?
No, it flew by every year. It's like, okay, I'm going to enjoy the year, enjoy the time. And here we are, end of the year. We've had such great conversations.
We really have 25 episodes. That's the most we've ever had in 1 year. Yeah, 25.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I was thinking back and like, where did the year go? Because I remember this time last year, like it was yesterday, so many things going on in the world. I mean, we had Sarah Jones Fairchild from Swim USA. She has just so much experience within the supply chain. We had Chuck Lasley from Dillard's talking about how they're implementing 2D barcodes, right? So for most everyone out there is 2D. What are we talking about? This is the next wave of the barcode, right? The beyond the UPC. And the most common one out there is the QR code. But there are others, the healthcare folks. Let's not forget about the healthcare folks out there, right? No. They're using a GS1 data matrix, which is a 2D barcode. They've been ahead of the game, but this brings challenges. But there was just so many episodes.
Yeah. And when we started talking about the 2D barcodes, it was interesting because it kind of had this flow throughout the year where 2D barcodes, data quality, the importance of data, no matter what the conversation was, it always seemed to come back to the importance of all of this amazing data and how to get it, how to act on it, how to make smart decisions. But all of these different people that we talked to used it and applied it in different ways. It's just really cool to hear all of that.
It was all connected together for different reasons, but they needed the same data. And the CNAP guys, I want to make sure we spend some time talking about the CNAP guys.
Yes, yeah.
Because that one was about data quality, and which is right, down to your swim lane. It went in a different direction than what I was expecting. I mean, the data quality they were talking about, weights, gaps, measures, that was like way beyond what I was thinking of. Were you prepared for that one?
A little bit, because I spent time in manufacturing in my past life, but I think a lot of times that kind of data is taken for granted because it's so foundational that you forget about it. And you forget and you don't think about the importance of that data. It enables all the other stuff. It enables trucks and machines and how things are working on the lines. And if any of that is off, it just kind of all goes away and falls apart.
Yeah. And still a family-owned business, right? It was so fun. I wasn't expecting it. The other fun one that I liked a lot was the one we did live at Connect to celebrate 50 years of the UPC barcode.
For those of you who may not have listened, please go listen back. We were in Orlando, and Reid and I were lucky enough to have conversations with Wegmans, with Cencora, with Barcoding Inc., and talking about the importance of data, but the 2D
and
barcode.
Blink. We also had Blink.
That's right. And it was really cool because we were able to talk to them face to face instead of on the computer, which is really great. And they had been at the conference. So there's that continuity of conversation from what the excitement was kind of through that couple of days we had spent together prior, and being able to have them react to that live.
I loved the live aspect of it. There were so many cool aspects. But do you remember we had Leanne Bigelow from U.S. Custom and Border Protection walk by,
Yes.
and it was like, whoa, we were like famous for a minute. Like I was like, you're making me blush, Leanne. You're making me blush. And then we had a great conversation with her and about, how the U.S. Custom and Border Protection is looking at GS1 standards and other aspects and things, and how it's used with internal, international. It's just, again, back to data and linking things together. Really, really cool stuff.
Yeah, so many different use cases. I mean, we've already mentioned manufacturing, the government, talk about food. You mentioned healthcare. There's apparel, general merchandise, Dillard's and Swim USA. We're so lucky to be able to have had all these different kinds of conversations about these different topics and things. It's really cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. And the e-commerce bit, right? We had Shannon Roddy come back on. I think he was the second one. I think he was like, we had a couple people come back, but
he was our first second.
Yeah, I think he might have been our first, second one, and still had so much to talk about winning in an Amazon environment and how quickly algorithms are constantly changing and you have to stay on top of it. And your business could be number one day, and then the next day you're not getting any views, and stuff is changing, and returns and automation and protection. I know there's podcasts dedicated just to that, but
yes. Well, and do you remember talking to Lisa Lane from Rinsearoo and how it was, I think, our first one, and how she in her house
with
in
her
New
son,
Jersey, yes, and how she came to market and on Amazon as well, and how you have to make sure that you have that unique identification information so that you don't have counterfeits out there just like that. It was fascinating. Just this woman who saw, oh, there's a problem, I'm going to solve it. Don't sing.
Then she had the copycats come on real fast.
That was fun, especially because I have a dog. So
That's right.
Yeah.
I made a note here. I have to talk about this one episode because it hit me different and I wasn't prepared for it. This was one of the episodes that you weren't on because you were traveling, and you've done some episodes that I wasn't on because I was traveling. But it was Dr. Darin Detwiler about food safety. And so, long story short, I remember that day vividly, and I'll never forget it. I was looking at my calendar a couple of days before, and I saw podcast and but I had misread it. I thought it was a podcast that I was going to be the guest on and was going to be talking about some things. And so when I logged on, he was there, and Aaron, our, producer, was there and came on, and I'm like, oh, wait. And I'm like, I don't want to reschedule for you. Like, let's do this. I think we can do this. And I had questions there because Aaron had it and as a backup and everything. But what hit me was we did the intro, and I'm like, hey, Darin, so tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into this consulting. And he hit me with, it started with the passing of his son, and I have two sons. And I was just like, I had to pause. But the work and the dedication that he has to our country and our globe and everyone just was, it'll be one that I'll never forget.
And the importance of food safety. And I know he's dedicated his life now to food safety and the awareness of that. And then we've had a couple episodes talking about FSMA 204, Food Safety Modernization Act, where there's additional record keeping requirements and things like that. A terrible, terrible story that happened to him. And now you have federal regulations and mandates around it. And we talked to Andy Kennedy from New Era Partners about traceability and what FSMA 204 is, what it means for the industry. He understands how GS1 standards can help. So we touched a little bit on that, but how these go hand in hand and how there's players across the supply chain that need to be responsible for the data, again, the data of the shipments of food that go through our supply chain. And it's so important. And that actually leads me into one of my other favorites that was, I think, kind of a recent one. We had our own Matt Andrews from GS1 US talk about EPCIS, which is Electronic Product Code Information Services. It's how physical events are tracked through the supply chain. For those of you who have not heard him speak, he just can make EPCIS, which sounds confusing and muddling. It just makes sense.
Yeah, I would highly encourage folks, and we have a very broad audience, right? We're dealing with grocery, we're dealing with food service, we're dealing with healthcare, we're doing front of the store, back of the store, middle. We had, ShipBob, Wes from ShipBob for 3PLs. And we're talking about the influence that is coming from TikTok and how things are seen on TikTok. It's direct to consumer, the challenges and the ease of doing direct to consumer. But then what happens when Target or Walmart or CVS calls and says, hey, we want your stuff? Or if you're a food product or you're an over the counter product that's in a grocery store, a drugstore, hospital, like these are different supply chains. So I would encourage everyone, when you get a chance, go back. You're getting your holiday workouts in, because I know that's where I am right now. Oh my gosh, I think I put on like 10 pounds in the last 30 days with all the traveling.
Too much traveling food. Yeah.
Traveling food is so good. And
it is. It really is. It really is. But an opportunity to listen to all of these podcasts now.
Yes, as we're walking and are on the treadmill or in the plane. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. One more we have to mention, Reid. Gena Morgan talked about 2D barcodes.
Need to be mentioned? No, I'm just kidding. Well, we had Gena and we had Jess, right?
Yes.
Talking about Data Hub. But yeah, talk about Gena, because I love Gena.
So we talked about 2D barcodes already, the QR code, but this notion of the 2D barcode going to be used at point of sale, Sunrise 2027, where retailers will have the ability to scan the 2D barcode and grab that G10 or that what we all see on a UPC, right? So she talked about that, and she has the passion for all of this work and enabling the industry, one, to be able to meet Sunrise 2027, but what else can that 2D barcode and all of that data that can be encoded onto it, what can that do and enable it? That is a fun one, and her energy comes through really well in that episode too.
Yeah. And, we talked earlier about the 50-year anniversary of the UPC barcode, right? And Gena's heading up the Beyond the UPC work here at GS1 US. You take a step back, think UPC barcodes were not ubiquitous like they are today 50 years ago. It was grocery using it, right? And then they all had to convince each other to start using it. They came together as an industry, a rising tide lifting all boats, if you will. And we're seeing that now with the 2D barcode for retail and the benefits for the retailers, the benefits for the brands, the benefits for the consumer. I mean, it's truly digitizing it. And I think, it's kind of a little bit of a silver lining too from COVID, because it was not fun for all of us when going through the COVID stuff, but it really brought forward the QR code that has been around for 30 years, right? But now has a new use and multiple uses. So lots of growth, lots of cool things. So I would definitely encourage folks to go back and listen to Gena's podcast. And if you're looking at how do I manage all of my G10s and prefixes, if you know what those are, Jess Uriola, our Vice President of Product, talking about Data Hub and Data Hub in and Data Hub out and how it can be leveraged. But I'm very interested, Liz, and I know we're going to get a lot of not fan mail from this, but what was your favorite episode? And it could be favorite for any reason.
There was one, and I printed all of these out, Reid, because there's a whole long list, and to be able to manage.
I went through the list at least 20 times.
Do you remember having the conversation with Barack from Force Get? Is that how you said it?
Yes. Oh, yes.
He talked about his mom.
That's right. The most human out of Florida. He was in Miami.
Yeah, there was something about him in the conversation that we had with him that has stayed with me. He was just such a genuine, intelligent, fun conversation to have about this supply chain work that he's doing. Yeah, it was amazing.
Amazing. Like, I just walked away with like, wow, society's great.
And that's the thing is, Reid and I, we travel and there's lots of work to do. And these podcasts come on our calendar, and it may not be at the most opportune moment, but you get on that podcast and we start having the conversation with these guys, and it is so much fun. I've enjoyed every single one of them.
Are you saying it's kind of like when our moms were yelling at us, what are you doing? And then the phone would ring and they'd be like, hello. Are you saying that that's how we are with it?
Exactly.
No. I tease, but I know exactly what you're saying, because we have very busy schedules, and sometimes we're not in the best places. We've taken a couple of these from hotels, a couple of them from airport lounges, and trying to squeeze it in and can you hear me and not hear me? But the energy, the passion of our guests, it really is. It's fuel to keep doing the work and to keep tackling the challenges that we all challenge. All right. Now, it's supply chain visibility, Liz, which I know that you're very involved with and we've been talking about.
I was just going to say, you have to now give yours, but there's a duel. There's a tie.
It's not a tie, but I felt compelled. Like we talked about it already, right? We talked about it earlier, with Reese and Gasper from Knapp and just the data quality, like that one, because Reese was calling in from Germany or was it Austria? And he's going to listen to this and he's going to send me a nasty gram now. But no, I was just fascinated. 3,000 plus IT folks working. I think it was like 60% of the company or 40% it fell on that side. It was like, there was just so many cool things that I would, if having the time, I've gone back and listened to a couple, not many. I really don't like listening to us talk, which is kind of, I think, normal, but some of them have been worth going back. But I will say my favorite one is the most recent one. And it's my favorite because it covered everything. American Pie, the American Dream, entrepreneurial, scaling, tactics, and best friends. Starting a company. And it was Hank Sauce. I actually was in New Hope, Pennsylvania for a training class. And I had a break and I was walking down the street and there was a hot sauce store. I don't drink hot sauce. If you ask my wife, this head starts sweating when too much pepper is on my eggs, So, but I'm not a hot sauce fan, but I was compelled to go in and I talked with the owner who had a lot of boutique things and your, regular stuff. And he was aware of it, but didn't have it. But yeah, so I just thought that Matt from Hank Sauce, the story was really kind of just cool, kind of brought everything together, just had all the elements. But I will say, Chuck from Dillard's and, Wes from Ship Bob and Dave from Wegmans and everyone we've spoken with, Leanne, everybody, it's been fantastic.
We've been really lucky. Yeah. Really lucky to have these conversations.
Yeah. And don't tell my boss, but this is the most fun I have at work.
I'm sure she would be fine with it.
Yeah. So that's all we have for today. We really appreciate you taking the time and spending it with us. Go back and listen to some of these episodes, but also reach out to us. Leave a comment. Let us know what you want to hear about. Anything related to supply chains. We're already prepared to kick off a couple of episodes that are coming out in the next few weeks. And we have others being scheduled in conversations, but we're always looking for new guests and new topics. So yeah, we look forward to talking with you again soon.
Thank you for joining the Next Level Supply Chain with GS1US. If you enjoyed today's show, you can subscribe to our feed or explore more great episodes wherever you get your podcasts. Don't forget to share and follow us on social media. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.